For building Formula Vee, it needs a gear shifter. And this has a custom shifter on it that essentially just sequentials 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. It uses a push-pull cable to do those gears. This was the original plate that was on the car. It was built a better part of 30 years ago and looks a bit crap. Why? The original push-pull cable that was on the car, which goes through here, was given to someone else. So we had to put a new one on. And the new one, the distance between the shifter and this point was wrong. So I couldn't reuse this plate. So I built this one. And this just has these two holes extended out here. This was plasma cut up and came out nice. New problem. These two bolt holes interfere with a chassis rail that goes through here. On this one you can actually see this here, this circle, has been machined off at the top to accommodate for that. So, new solution, we're going to move those two holes down. So you can see there, it's all down a little bit. Now, this one is fresh off the plasma cutter. It's a pretty good job, but I've got to clean all this up. So come along with me while I do that. When you're sanding things with a normal sander, which I recommend for aluminium coming off plasma cutter, or actually any aluminium, it comes up quite nice. You can see kind of this is quite shiny, and this one's a bit more dull. Gives it a nice satiny finish and cleans up a lot of the imperfections. Off the plasma cutter, this has a lot of burrs and bits of shit on it. So that's got rid of all my nasty burrs and edges on this, so it's nice and smooth. Still got the sharp edge on the corner. We'll deal with that later on the sander, but I want to go check all the fitment on these holes. So theoretically, you're going to come with me for that? That's better. The problem with plasma cutting number 1 is it tapers. So these holes here, I should have a close up, they taper in because of the way the plasma cutter works, it tapers like that. As it goes down, it gets thinner. Not sure why the physics of that is what it does. And so all your holes have a taper. The top of them doesn't match the bottom, the holes don't fit, you gotta drill them in. Shit on the back, we'll get to that later. This is just a test fit for now. To make sure that these 4 holes on the outside here, so those top 3 and that one, line up. This one I don't think will. At the bottom here, not too fast. I'd like all 3 of these to line up quite easily. I moved them from the last one because the last one didn't fit quite nicely. Okay, we've got 2 out of 3. That ain't bad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I'd like a third. Third is nowhere near. Not even remotely close. Also, that compressor doesn't sound happy at all. That hole there doesn't line up. Nowhere remotely close. Nowhere near. That one is actually quite close. And the issue being, it's not drilled on this plane. It's drilled at an angle like that. It's drilled like that. But I want to check if these 2 holes here interact with this tube here. This is the tube that they were touching before. I'll be back when it works. Maybe that gives you a better idea of how it's supposed to work. It's annoying me that that's a cap head. Those are mushroom heads. That's a fucking hex head. It's annoying me if it's not annoying you. But that works like a charm. So bike handle here does across the gate. So that's your 2 to 3. And this here does up and down the gate. So that's 1 to 2 and 3 to 4. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a little lower than I was hoping. I was kind of hoping it'd be more up here. But it's not bad because it keeps it out of the way of your wrist, your knuckles, because I'm going to be going like that. So it keeps out of the way of my knuckles, but it's only a foot away. It's only there. It was hitting this bolt before, so that's really nice that that's out of the way now. This bolt here doesn't line up, and it's not close. It's actually quite far away. This one doesn't line up either. This bolt's in the wrong spot. It's the right distance there to there. That distance is correct, but it's too low, and so it's putting this whole thing on a tilt. It's half the reason this bolt doesn't line up. Not the reason this one doesn't line up. It would actually make that, slightly better. So I think I want to I don't want to just Dremel this hole out that way, because I could do that. I could stick it in the mill even, and mill a little slot in it, and it would work fine. I might do that. Rather than, I don't want to waste all this aluminium again. Like this is the second one I've made, and I don't want to make a third just to move this whole 2 mil that way, and this whole 3 mil up. But also, I wanted this to be really nice. I had dreams of grandeur, shall we say. Yeah, I'm just gonna cut another one out. No one will know. It's fine. Except when they watch this video. They won't watch this video. It's fine. New plate cut out. This one, the hole's been moved. I'm gonna do the cardinal sin and not check them. What I also did was I made all the holes much smaller. So you can see there, kind of comparison between the 2 hole sizes. Idea being, the previous one I had, when I drilled out the holes, the bottom of the hole was a nice machined surface, nice and shiny, but the top was still the kind of rough edge. It looks kind of shit, and I want to get rid of as much of that as possible. So I do the holes smaller. When I drill them out, they'll come up quite nice. So first things first, roll out. Okay, so you can see these two plates here. This one's a lot more dull than this one. This one obviously, this is a 180 grit. This I believe was a 320. This is what I'll eventually go down to, but I've still got to deburr these edges. There's a real sharp edge just there, because that's nice and rounded. I want to clean up the outer edge. This has got a nice smooth outer edge. This is a lot rougher at the moment. And also I've got to deburr all the holes. So go to the drill press, we deburr all the holes. That creates, occasionally on the outside of the hole you get a little ridge. I don't want that. So I'll use the sander again. So the sander's kind of the first and last thing I always do, because it cleans up most of the stuff, gets you something nice to work with, and then gets rid of everything else. I want to say while I'm here, this is probably incredibly overbuilt. It's 6mm thick, so I don't think I'd go any thinner, just because in this center section you want quite a bit of rigidity. These are all 30mm. All my edges are 30. So that's 30, that's 30, 30. That's not 30, that's 20-ish. That's 30 there as well. It's excessive. I don't think it really needs 30mm, but I'd rather at the moment have it more rigid than lighter. Like, it's aluminium. This probably weighs a couple hundred grams, maybe 500 grams at worst. It is too heavy. What I really wanted to do was go through these edges here with some nice checker plating, or maybe like some nice triangles, isogrid kind of triangles through here. The plasma kind of doesn't have the resolution to really do that. By the time you're down to something 2mm, 4mm across, it comes out looking like shit. It doesn't do it nicely. You can even see this is a 6mm slot in the end there. It's got a real big taper on it and doesn't look good. I do like the change in aesthetic from this one to this one. Having these two circles in the middle, I think really like it. It kind of focuses it on the purpose of this, which is the rotation of those two things. Well, only rotation on one of them, that one matches. But next up, a little sander, clean down the edges, and then I'll deburr everything. What I'm gonna do is give this a last sand. We'll go over it with the 180 and then probably jump down to a 320 to get a nice finish on it. I think I'm gonna anodize this. We do powder coating here, not in-house, but we have a place that does powder coating for us. But I think because there's so much wear on these points through here, I think the powder coating can just rub off and they'll look like shit. I think anodizing will come out looking real good. And that we do in-house. We used to. I think we still have the capability. I'm not sure. It's over there somewhere. So yeah, my last attack with the orbital sander, and I gotta do the same to the little bit, which goes on there, and then chuck it in the car. And then I gotta make my saddle mount. That's another problem. My goal anytime I'm making something with aluminium is I don't want anything on it to stand out. I want it to be nice and even, no high spots. With the material I'm using, and it's kind of hard to do perfectly. This has got a couple holes in it, which are there from, it's been sitting up on the wet table for a while, so there's probably a bit of corrosion, honestly. But it was fun, you know you've done aluminium well when it feels nice in the hand. This is nice and smooth, all the edges are nice and smooth. It's feels nice to handle. That's when you know you've done it well. So that's ready for me. Look at the way that shines. That's ready for go in the car. Theoretically fits. So do this one, and we'll be back with it in the car. Okay, so I got a little carried away with the MIG, and I made up a little holder bracket. But this edge here is too wide. It's going to be 3mm wide. It's currently 6. So we've come over to the mill. I'm going to stick it in the mill there like that, and come along and mill down just that center part so it's 3mm, and then matches the bit that I've got to put on. Should hopefully give it the strength that it needs. So my phone went flat, but I got a little bit excited, and I finished up the connector here. I ended up having to cut out the center section that I wanted in there. It wasn't going to fit, but I milled in slot, and so it's really nice and rigid now. These I've got 2 cap screws in at the moment. Going to change these out for socket head cap. And it is riding on this chassis rail just a little bit. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. It's fine, like it sits there fine. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. But it shifts great. I'm loving everything about this. Put a little M5 button head screw in here, managed to have 16s in the pile. The M5 button head by 16, so that goes in there. That's nice, beautiful and rigid. I haven't got that too tight. I was thinking about put a bushing in there, but I think I'll just go steel on steel. Seems to be working fine. There's a little bit of a lack of rigidity through this center section. I'm not sure what I can do about that, and I've still got flexibility there. Issue with this center flexibility, and I think the fix that I'll have to do, if I
crank it harder, it just gets stuck and it's not very nice. The proper solution is put a bearing in there so that you isolate the two things. I think what I'll do for now is just remake these plastic things. But there's a race meet on 15 minutes away, and I've been holding out all day to go, so I'm going to try and catch the last run.
Okay, this is the back of the gearbox. This bearing here is really sloppy, so I'm going to have to replace that. This is to go across the gate. I need to put this heat shrink on here so this looks nicer. It's not horrible. And all this side looks fine. This is where the cable goes in. It's all nice and secure and fixed up, working well.
All right, so a bit of an update of where we're at. See on the rear here, this is all now final. I made a little bush inside of there. It's that little plastic thing you can see. And got a new one of these. So this is all now very tight. There's a little bit of wiggle in it, I think just there, but it's as good as it's going to get. And it does now shift gears. This I got on, annoyingly, that's not small enough. You can really tell. Put a bolt on there and that's all good. It's all tight, it goes back and this all functions. It does actually shift gears. I'll have to get a video of that at some point, that's a later problem.